desktop. How much time the users spend on these websites. You see 5 minutes, and the average user is doing 3.6 page views. And the nice bar below, it's the traffic sources. So you can see exactly how the user is arriving to the website. So you have direct, is the blue one on the left. The interesting insight here that you see that this website getting almost 21% of its traffic from the social network, like Facebook, Twitter, etc. So it's very unique, and I think it was interesting insight. I also put this nice table from our website. I put here the top 14 websites in Croatia. So you see number one is Facebook, Google, very obvious. Then you have the shopping auction website, etc. So it's a very nice insight that everybody can use. Now, as I told you, founded in 2007, 150 employees, 40 million investment. I like to explain how we're doing, what we do, how we're doing our magic, basically to know what's going on in the digital world. So our secret is that we're able to combine these 4 different data sources. A lot of people really wonder how we give this data. So the first one is, and very obvious, is something called ISP data, basically Internet Service Provider. We partner with them, and we basically collect data from the pipes that shifting Internet around the world. We combine this data with a panel. Panel basically means that we monitor around 100 million devices, mobile and desktop, every month through browser plugins, software, etc. We combine all those two with a crawler that's basically running and mapping all the website and the apps out there. We take those 3 data sources, we're building a model how the digital world behave, and we're able to verify the accuracy with something we call a learning set. We have tens of thousands of websites and apps that basically share with us their information, and we're able to understand how good we are and all the time improving our technology. Now we provide our data, our technology through a free website called similarweb.com. We have a SaaS platform, we call it SimilarWeb Pro. It's kind of a market intelligence platform that companies pay a subscription model in order to get like market intelligence, to understand what their competition is doing, what's going on in the market, and basically get a lot of very deep inside data about the digital world. And we also sell the data through API for other companies that want to integrate our data into their product. Now, we are very proud with our customers. We have very big names. I know that here in Croatia we're not that popular, but we have a few nice companies that use us in many verticals. And you can see there from eBay, Google, Samsung, and Orange among our customers. And the nice thing that you own this very interesting information about what's going on in the digital world is basically that our data being quoted on a weekly basis in all the biggest newspapers around the world. New York Times, Bloomberg, TechCrunch, Economies, and the Washington Post, all of them are using our data basically to write a lot of stories about what's going on in the digital world. Now, as I told before, they asked me to tell you a little bit story about aspiration, about entrepreneurs. How many entrepreneurs here in the audience? Hope everyone? Okay, nice part. So our story is long, and I think there's a lot of things to learn. And it starts with my personal story, and I will share it with you. So my personal story starts with selling jewelry. I started selling jewelry a long time ago. It was a family business. And I started opening a website for selling jewelry, and I had some jewelry stores, like physically. And one day, I had a meeting with one of my suppliers, a business partner from the United States. And while I'm sitting with him, he told me, he saw the jewelries that I make, and he told me, you know, it's very nice jewelry. You know, it's very similar to a designer called David Yurman. Told him, David, what? He told me, David Yurman. How you never heard about David Yurman? And he was laughing at me, and I was very embarrassed that I never heard about him. So I went to Google, typed David Yurman, and I saw this amazing jewelry designer that I immediately fell in love with him, that he did everything right. Basically, he was selling very similar jewelry to what I made. And he did everything right. The branding was right, the packaging was right, the pricing was right. And I basically saw him and realized he was my dream. He was my dream, and I want to be like him. And I never heard about him. And it's really bothered my mind, like how I never heard about him. And at that moment I decided I want to see all the other jewelry designers out there in the world or in the internet that are similar to David Yurman. And I couldn't find. And I was kind of a computer geek that know how to use the internet, etc. But I couldn't find an easy way to, if I like David Yurman, what are the other websites out there that I should look at. And then one night I had this idea that I want a browser plugin. I'm going to sit on my browser, that every website I check will pop up below another recommendation for similar websites. If I check in David Yurman, it will show me Cartier, Tiffany, Bulgari, and all the other similar sites. And I decided to build a startup. And this was the first product we launched after almost a year and a half bootstrapping. And we call it SimilarWeb. It was a browser plugin. We launched it in 2009. And this is a nice browser plugin here. I even put here the first mock-up that I made, how I will wish it looked like. So it was a nice sidebar sitting on your browser. Every website you check, you see in this example, you have the New York Times. It will pop up here on the side all the other similar sites that if you like New York Times, those are all the websites you should check. We even put nice filter below that you can choose the topic and filter it. So this idea was really cool, and it was working. We got millions of people downloading when we launched it. We raised money. And we've been featured. Back then there was no Chrome browser, it was only Firefox, so we've been featured there. And we got millions of downloads. And the sad thing, that we didn't able to monetize it. And we tried. We tried very hard for almost a year, and basically no success. The idea was that we're showing here 5 organic results. One of them will be sponsored. And we thought it's a genius idea, like Google. Google have organic results, and some of them are paid. And basically people don't click. We didn't able to get advertisers. So it was tough times. But the nice things that happened, that we have millions of users. And one way that enabled us to improve the technology of recommendation of website was understand user surfing behaviors. Anonymously aggregate. Meaning that if we saw millions of users while in the same session visiting New York Times and others, and then visiting CNN or BBC, we understand that if you like New York Times, you should check CNN and BBC, and this is how we're able to improve the technology by understand users' behaviors. Now, this nice slide shows you the life circle of our idea. So we start with SimilarWeb, here on the left. At one point we decided to put this technology not as a browser plugin, but as a website. So we acquired a domain similar site, we launched a website. It was also kind of a nice success. We got the 10 million visits organically. Then we thought it's a good idea, website is working, so we start open another website called TopSite that basically gives topic per website. Then we acquire one of the competitors and basically try to build a network of websites. This is also didn't succeed very well. It was nice, but we didn't felt that is the right direction. So we try to sell the technology as API. See that? So we try to give, maybe we'll licensing the technology to other companies. So we tried that for a while, but it didn't scale. So in 2011, we sat down and we decided, okay, what next? We tried many things, and none of them was something that we felt that we want to wake up every morning to it and basically build and change the world. This is not what we had in mind when we start. So I understand in one point we have a technology of crawling, that going and mapping all the website, understand our competitor, similar site. In one hand we have a panel, we have millions of users using those browser plugins, etc. that we basically help us to understand the digital world. Let's go and compete with a company called Alexa, and build a web measurement platform. Instead, analyze website and find similarity. We'll analyze the website and basically give insight about measurement, like how big are those websites, where they're getting the traffic, etc. And then we launched SimilarWeb in 2013, January 2013, 2.5 years ago. In the beginning, we start selling the data as API. It was nice. And after, in 6 months after, we also launched the SimilarWeb Pro, our SaaS platform. Now, as you can understand, this was a long journey. And when we launched SimilarWeb 2.5 years ago, we were around 30, 35 people, 2.5 years ago. Today, we're 150, even more. So in those 2.5 years, basically, we explode and grew up very fast. Now, this is basically the history of the pivot. Okay, because we started as a browser plugin in 2009, then we pivot to websites, 2010. Then again in 2011, we had to pivot again and basically going to the direction of web measurement. But this long path, the secret behind that not secret, every time we had to pivot, it was really hard. I saw here before a lecture about firing the whole team and how much tough it is. So every time we had to pivot, we had to fire almost half of the employees, think again, convince all the team again that this is the right path, and then continue. So it wasn't an easy path. And then 1 year when we start working on the web measurement, in 2012 we already have a working product. We tested with few customers. We saw it wasn't good, so we had to kill it, work another year, make a better product, and only then launching it in 2013. And I decided to put this nice picture here, showing you how it's feel to pivot. All the strength you need to go, you just killed the first product, you need to go to the team and then convince them, guys, this is the new path, let's go to war, come on. And I used this picture in the presentation I give to the team in 2011 when we decided to go to this new path. And this is my slide about entrepreneurship. If life gives you lemon, you should do a lemonade. And basically entrepreneurship, in my perspective, is basically take what you have in your hand, spin it around, time after time, until you find the right recipe for success. And I decided to finish my presentation today with these 4 main bullets about what is entrepreneur. In my perspective, what I think entrepreneurs should have. The first one is optimistic. As you understand, it's a long journey. Next month, SimilarWeb is celebrating 8 years. So you always think optimistic, not only for yourself, also to your team. It will be fine, we're going to a new journey, we're going to a new battle, and everything's going to be okay. Second point is workaholic. You cannot hide it, it's a very hard work. To own your own business, it's a hard work. Building a startup, it's even harder, especially in our world that's changing so fast, and you always need to be with your eyes open. The third point is self-motivated. Why I choose that? Because I discovered that it's true that you have investors, you have your team, but as an entrepreneur, you need all the time to wake up in the morning and work. And there's nobody there. You don't have a boss, you don't have anyone on your head telling you why you didn't wake up for work, why you left early, etc. So you always need to know how to self-motivate yourself to work even harder. And the last point I call charisma. I find myself many times trying to convince the best people in Israel to join me to this journey. And it wasn't an easy journey. We had to fire the team a lot. 2 times we had to, taking a path that was very long. And you always need to not only attract the best people, also to convince them that this is the right path. And you cannot do that if you don't have charisma. That you cannot basically push all those people after you. And this was my presentation. And thank you so much for that.